I often have very lucid, vivid dreams, and I wanted to share a few of them. This one I named Jealousy Suits You. This is a dream in which I was a genderless spirit, Arius. Arius, a spirit who gathered and spread knowledge, was trying to console a broken-hearted friend. Isis, the water spirit of art and creativity, now an old woman and ready to be reborn, had seen how humans use creativity to torture others to death. She had been storming the seas with her grief, and Arius, being one with the wind, was one of the few to keep up with her. "Calm down, love. There is a boat of humans coming, and you will drown them," they shouted with the lightning and thunder. "Let them sink into the depths of the sea for all I care. They used my gift for terrible reasons. They're monsters and deserve to die." Arius managed to save a child on the boat. "Stop, this isn't what we were made to do." They held the child close. "And you know what we were meant to do? I bet if you took care of that thing, you would grow to hate it as well." "Maybe I will." Arius looked at Isis defiantly. "And who knows, I may even learn to love." "You watch, Arius," the old woman cried. "You were never meant to love, and if you somehow do, your love will eat you alive." "Who do you have there, Arius?" Leon, the spirit of change and expression, bent down to get a better look at the boy. Tullio stared at Leon's bright orange eyes and liked how they sparkled with his excitement. "My name is Tullio," the boy said, and dared to reach out to touch the spirit's tanned face. "You're pretty." Leon looked up at Arius in surprise and with a slight blush. "Whoa, this little guy sure likes to flirt, doesn't he? What are you teaching him, Arius?" Leon, Arius, and Tullio are joined by Tereus, who drives them around in a truck to show them the earth when they tired of flying. They got along well as the boy met every spirit over time. He was clever, kind, and always willing to listen. He loved learning, much like Arius, and many times had something new to teach every spirit. Isis slowly grew jealous of Tullio and Arius' relationship. As more of the other spirits warm up to both of them, her jealousy turns to hate. It becomes worse when every time she saw the boys she could only say cruel and hateful things. Arius began avoiding Isis more, which strained their relationship. Isis threatened them with a curse. "Your love will eat you alive." They stopped talking after that. Isis flew into a rage and tried to attack Tullio and Arius. The other spirits helped Arius and the human to get away. Leon multiplied himself and glowed in different colors, stating that Isis should try a new form and think of a next life instead of dwelling on the past. But instead, Isis took the form of a child. She matched her voice with that of Tullio's voice, and Leon was terrified. On Halloween, Arius, Tullio, and the rest of the spirits, including Isis, attended a human festival. Everyone was in costumes and they were being civil to each other because it was the old way of being. Isis was near the end of her cycle and would be reborn soon, so everyone would see her off with a festival of creativity. They all became distracted and separated. The merriment of the festival started to fill all their hearts. The faith that nothing bad would happen had even Tullio on his own for a couple of hours. Finally, children and other humans gathered to hear stories from Arius. Isis was in a wheelchair, listening. Arius managed to get halfway through a love story when Tullio suddenly interrupted. "Would you love me if I were a monster?" Arius became a little baffled at this question, but told him yes and continued the story. "Would you love me if I did something bad?" Again, Arius was surprised, but they hesitantly nodded. "Would you love me if I ate you alive?" Tullio smiled as he stepped closer to touch her arm. Arius stayed at their loved human, but something was different. His eyes were dead. Aries began to say something, but the boy took a giant bite out of their arm. Aries screamed because it was in that moment they knew that the human boy was no longer alive, and this was just his corpse being puppeted. The other spirits were alarmed and rushed to help, but they didn't realize the other humans who had gathered around their friend Aries were all dead and possessed. The spirits couldn't get to them in time, and Aries was eaten alive. Isis laughed as she finished her cycle, content in knowing Aries will hesitate before becoming friends with another human again. None of the other spirits saw Isis pass, so Isis' soul began a new cycle, lost in memories and in bonds. But because the spirits saw Aries' cycle forcibly end, all their memories and bonds remained with them when they awoke from the ground again. Aries, now reborn into the body of a mother, screamed as she awoke. Leon and Tereus were there to help her out. Like all of her previous cycles, she was born near a coast, the link between the ocean and the land, and she screamed in pain from her memories of dying and anger and loss. She tore the ground as she clawed her way out. When her friend's spirits tried to help her, she refused, and they let her cry until she lost the fire of hate. Isis is missing, Leon said. She's not linked to anyone. No one saw her pass, Tereus added. A few weeks searching, and Aries found Isis washed ashore and alone on a remote island. Isis had the body of a young boy, resembling Tullio, and Aries' heart broke. She kneeled on the sand and cried. Isis, now a spirit boy with no memories, knelt down and carefully patted her hair. "What's wrong?" he asked. Aries took a breath. "Jealousy suits you," she wept. Then she held her arms open for Isis, and he carefully hugged her. Aries held him and whispered to him the knowledge of the spirits. She told him of the previous Isis and what she did. The boy started crying, and now it was Aries who patted his head, hugging him warmly. "You are now a child. I hold no malice towards you. I am now a mother, and the spirit Aries of knowledge and wind. I hope I serve you well, as a kind teacher for this and many lives forward."